in my neck because I've been having some neck problems. And my physical therapist is like, yeah, your neck is gone. She was like poking needles into my muscles to get them to just kind of release a little. And I told her, I says, this is like all the time for me, and it's not like I feel stressed or anything. It's just I hurt because my muscles are all, trying to take care of my spine, And it's just, I don't know. Getting old is getting old.
Sucks getting old.
Yeah, it does. Well, but I mean, your situation's a little different, but it's still something that's tough to get through,
Yeah.
As you get older, your body definitely tells you, do this or don't do that. And if you don't listen, it's going to talk louder.
It does.
It's going to say, keep doing this, you're done.
You're done.
Yeah, so I've been really trying to be mindful of what I should and shouldn't do, just to keep things going better because, God, I mean, Jim having to deal with anything major concerning me, it's like, he told me the other day, he's like, I really can't do my mom without your help,
Yep.
And, but it's been really hard because I just got done with COVID and then I was trying to help her a lot. And it was like 12 hours one day and, 9 hours the next day and then another 6 hours the next day. And I'm like, I can't physically do it,
Yeah.
And then that's when she got diagnosed with the congestive heart failure. And it's like, well, I've been talking to these doctors and letting them know about her rash and taking pictures every day and sending it to them, because I didn't think that this was right. And they, instead of admitting her back on Tuesday, 2 weeks ago, or actually it would be a week ago Tuesday, instead of admitting her when they should have, they gave her this, Lasix pill form, kind of like Lasix, but not exactly Lasix. And that didn't help, fast enough.
To remove the water.
And then she started getting the edema and stuff. And then her stats were just off the charts on Friday when Jim took her in. And I'm like, I knew something was up, she just wasn't walking right. She wasn't balanced right. I've been sending pictures left and right to the doctors, and then they tried to kick her out of the hospital early. I mean, they barely had gotten her in there, and then they're like, oh, she plateaued. I'm like, what? Who the heck said that? I need to talk with them now.
Yeah.
And then they were saying, well, everything's not according to you. It's according to Marge, and she's her own person. I said, yeah, but the illusion is independent. She's not independent. We are her caregivers. Don't you think you got to talk to the caregivers before you release her to home?
Yeah.
And, it's just not right to just assume that she's going to be just fine at the home environment. Taking the fluid off of your heart in a hospital environment is different than giving a pill that may or may not work for 7 days. She's got this major metabolic delay with things working like 7 days.
Really?
And so, we have an appointment tomorrow to take her in, and hopefully things have gotten better and they're not going in the wrong direction, with the pill form of Lasix. So I'm hoping she looks better, so that's good. But she can't move with a squat,
Yeah.
Like her legs don't work like they should, and so now we're having to find more assisted care that's kind of more around the clock, and I think she's just a high need,
Yeah.
And so, but she's been doing a little bit better, so I don't know. It's just kind of where we're going to end up leveling out at, as to what we're going to end up having to get for her.
Yeah.
Because I know she would like more a situation like what you got going, where she's independently living, but brings services to her.
Yeah.
That's what she'd prefer.
Yep.
But
well, they'll bring most stuff to you.
Huh?
They bring most stuff to you, and you can get a taxi cab to go somewhere if you want.
Well, right, and I know that. Except that her problem isn't just that. Her problem is like mobility challenges and needing assistance going to the bathroom even.
Yeah.
So that's a whole different ball game. So I think we're kind of like looking at a facility now, unless things level out differently. But I'm kind of thinking it's going to be an assisted care environment.
Yeah, it's about that time, I think.
But it just makes me want to cry, though, Mike, because I went to go get her chair and get her some clothes and different things that are more homey-ish and put pictures around her new place in the nursing facility. And I just sat there and just cried, because I really believe in advocating for a person's independence. I believe in allowing them to make a lot of their choices, and not that she won't do that, and I won't advocate for that. She still will, but her having to choose these dependent state of living choices is just something that is going to be hard for her, because she's used to living so semi-independently, and she's used to a level of care that's pretty dang up there. I don't think those people giving her showers are going to heat up her towel so it's nice and warm.
No,
like I do, I kind of spoil her, and she's, she wasn't too happy initially. She was mad about this and mad about that, and you can kind of expect that with the transition. But now that I kind of helped her see the bigger picture, I think she settled down a little bit, but it just makes me sad having to watch somebody go through that, living independently with a lot of, family care, into now having to actually receive care from somebody else that's not family. And, it's a mortifying thing to have other people see you naked. And, it's just hard for her, I think. And I just feel bad for that.
She's tough. She's 92, right?
93, yeah.
93.
Yeah, 93. She does really pretty darn well for 93, but I think her heart is like showing all the signs of her age. Yeah. And I don't know how I can keep her going medically and fairly stable. And she's a DNR, so at any time, she could go. And actually, it's my wish for her, and I know it's her wish for her, that it's not going to be some long, drawn-out, painful, difficult process. So I didn't want her going home and, like, falling and breaking a hip, because then that would be, like, torture for the rest of your life. Because they don't operate on, like, a 93-year-old.
Yeah, right.
So it would be really... she'd have to live with a stinking broken hip for the rest of her life. And her sister went through that. And I know it's just, you got to really watch, that age group, because they're so frail. And if the people who take care of her, or end up taking care of her, don't keep a good enough eye on her, it's going to get worse. And then she'll get fragile, emotional, and she's already been emotional, and that's hard to watch. But I just care too much, and I feel other people's pain,
Yeah.
And it's hard, because I just want her to live out the rest of her life in as comfortable of a state that she can without,
Well, she's been doing real good with all your help so far,
Yeah, thanks for saying that, Mike. That means a lot to me. It's just, no matter what I do, I just always feel like it's never good enough. It's like I want to do more.
It's just a hard thing.
It's just hard. I can't, I just can't. She would need round-the-clock care from us, and we don't have that much time to give, And even if we moved her in here, she doesn't want to live with us. She doesn't want... first of all, we're on a split-level house. The bathrooms are upstairs or downstairs. She can't do stairs. We'd have to install a whole unit to make that happen. And she says, no, I don't really want you to do that,
Yeah.
And, it's just, she knows we take care of her, but at the same time, she doesn't want to throw the burden of her onto us, I think. And because she took care of her mom, and she knew how hard it was. So I think that's probably one of the reasons why, and I respect that. But, there's the person in me that would like to just take care of everybody's needs, but she would definitely be a hard one to take care of because she's ultra specific and a perfectionist about everything. You know, so she's. Let's just say this: in managing her life, my life is like exploding all over the living room. I've been trying to get ready for events, and they like have taken over my house. They're like, there's no way she could live in this disaster pit and not be just completely angry at me for it. You know, yeah. And it's not like I'm not trying. It's just I can't do everything. You know.
Nope.
So, but yeah. Anyhow. So you're finally feeling a little better. You know that it's easier to breathe when the temperatures go down than when the temperatures are up, right?
Yeah.
Has to do with the air particle size. So some of this might just be related to, you know, the
Still
moisture and stuff
out.
in the air. Like
still
humid air is a lot harder to breathe than dry air too. That's another thing.
Yeah. No, it's from smoking, you know.
What was that?
It's from smoking.
Yeah. Well, that'll do it. I'm
lungs
trying to look outside of the box and recognize the other things too. Besides going, I told you so. I told you not to smoke.
I'm trying to get a little better, doing a little bit more each day.
Well, hopefully you experience enough cause and effect to know that you shouldn't be continuing to smoke.
Yes, I know that.
Because you're feeling the effects of the effect part of it all.
50 years of smoking.
God, so wonder you're still living a life.
My mom smoked while she was pregnant with me, so I had nicotine since I was in her womb. Then I came out, my mom and dad smoked Lucky Strike, no filters, so I had secondhand smoke for 14. And then at 14, I started smoking, and now I'm 64. 50 years of smoke.
Holy crap.
So I've had I've had 64 years of nicotine.
Man.
It's a lot of nicotine.
Yeah, but you're really tough in how you go about quitting. It kind of sucks. But
I know, I'm going to
watched you do it.
I could do it. I just got to do it.
Yeah, you got to get stubborn with yourself, you know.
Yeah.
You take all that stubbornness and apply it to yourself and smoking, you'll do it just fine.
It sucks not being able to breathe, I can tell you that. It gives you
it's horrible.
A panic attack.
Yeah, it does. It's horrible. Like when I had COVID and I was coughing my brains out, couldn't hardly breathe. I was thinking to myself, oh my God, I would hate having a lung condition like people have to live with.
Yeah, Denise
I actually thought about you, and I was like, oh my gosh, I guess to live with this kind of crap every day.
Denise downstairs has lung disease. She's on oxygen all the time. She has oxygen on in her nose, you know.
Oh, yeah.
And she still smokes.
Oh, really? Even with oxygen? She just still smokes?
She's going to blow up one day.
Oh, my God. I know. You got to be careful around that oxygen.
Yep.
Can't be smoking around that.
But she does. It's nicotine, second worst drug in the world.
Yeah.
Alcohol being the first.
Yeah. Well, I just think it's a good decision to quit smoking. But I don't know. I always look at the whole picture of a person's life is more complex than you realize. There's people who haven't smoked a day in their lives, and they have lung problems. So you can't just blame it all on smoking.
No.
Sometimes you can have problems with your lungs, and even if you're not a smoker. You know?
Michelle led a healthy life, and she dropped dead at 35, you know?
Yeah.
You just never know. But I've abused myself my whole life with drugs, alcohol, cigarettes.
Yeah. And so she had she ended up having an aneurysm, or?
She had a heart attack.
Yeah.
left coronary, the Widowmaker.
Yeah. Yeah, but you know what? I gotta say though, if I ever have to go, I want to go like that. I want to go here 1 minute, gone the next. None of this lingering, suffering, putting your family through hell crap. You know, I
Yeah,
mean,
me
even
too.
though it's horrible that she had to die, and even though, you know, I mean, you would hate to like have a stroke or something and live with the symptoms of a stroke.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
Or have, you know,
Cancer.
problems breathing or cancer for an extended period of time, or, you know, some major disability that prevents you from like thinking clearly, like Alzheimer's or dementia, or,
I'm getting
you
that.
know, functioning. I mean, there's so many things that you can have that yeah, you'd be alive longer, but what kind of life are you going to live, and what kind of life is your family going to live around you?
I'll
You
kill
know,
myself before I go through cancer.
I've often prayed for, like, Lord, if you ever take me quick, take me just fast, make my heart stop. You know.
Yeah,
Here,
me too.
one
I
day,
know
gone
I'll
the
die
next. That's how I
fast.
want
You
to
know.
go. Because I don't. I mean, I don't want this lingering difficulty in people's lives.
Yeah.
You know,
I'll
even
just
in
die
my
of a
own.
heart attack, so it'll be fast.
Yeah.
If I get cancer, I'll take fentanyl and kill myself.
Yeah.
I live
Well, even the pacemaker thing, my grandfather had a pacemaker put in because he had rhythm problems. And they decided to put a pacemaker in because he ended up with cardiomyopathy, and that's where one side of your heart is larger than the other and pumps differently. So he would go into these rhythm, you know, like atrial fib and different things like this. And then so they ended up, the atrial fib was one thing, but there's an underlying cardiomyopathy too. So my grandmother and him decided they wanted to do the defibrillator, so that every time his heart started to get all funky, the defibrillator would straighten it out. Well, one of the most horrible things I remember with my grandfather's situation, he ended up in congestive heart failure, and he ended up going through all of this stuff with breathing, and he had low energy and he couldn't move around and do a lot of these things. I was used to seeing my grandfather be really strong, and to see him that weak, you know, and he ended up having a few strokes. And I mean, there was a lot of things he endured through, and he really did it like a champ. But when he was toward the end there, he talked to me, you know, I knew he just didn't want to have other people see his suffering, you know, and for him, you know, it's hard for him to deal with. But that defibrillator, should he be in the hospital, and his stats would start to drop and his heart would get a little like strange, you know, in the rhythm. And then that defibrillator would shock him and you could see it in his body, you know?
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh my God, how horrible, you know? Like, you actually want to leave the planet, and yet this defibrillator keeps pumping you, keeping you here. You know what I mean? I thought to myself, I never thought about that with a defibrillator until I watched him go through it.
I'm supposed to have a defibrillator.
What?
I'm supposed to have a defibrillator.
Well, yeah, but I mean, you got to think about that. You can't, I mean, it helps keep you going. Don't get me wrong, okay? It'll help correct your heart rhythm. It'll help, you know, keep you going. And I watched that happen to him, or it kept him going. That sounds really good and wonderful until things are really bad. And to watch him have to go through defibrillation after defibrillation, and it's like you're being shocked all the time.
Yeah.
That was really hard to watch. I mean, and he would tell me, like, he'd be talking to me, and all of a sudden he'd get shocked in his heart because his heart rhythm was off. And then he said how much it hurt. It would just make him hurt so bad, you know, being shocked all the time.
Yeah.
I never thought about that until then. I thought, you know, that's the part of getting one of those things you don't know about until you're at the end of your life, and that thing is keeping you going, and it's like shocking you all the time. And I was like, "Oh, I don't know if I'm gonna ever get a defibrillator if I ever need one."
Yeah, I haven't done it
people
yet.
do that, and it keeps them going, and it kept him going for a long time, So there's some value in it, but when you get towards the end of your life, the quality of life is not as good when you're having this thing shock you all the time. I mean, you kind of felt like you kind of wanted it taken out for a while there. By that time, you're at the upper age limits, and nobody wants to operate to take it out, and because you're a high risk of mortality rate affecting their hospital thing, and that type of deal. So, I know it's a tough situation there. So,
yeah, I'll probably be getting one in a year or so.
yeah. Well, just think about that other story I told you when you decide.
Staying alive, you mean?
No, just I mean, I am all for staying alive. Okay, don't get me wrong.
The only pain I have right now is my lungs. You still there?
Yeah, I'm here. Mm-hmm. Lungs, huh?
Yeah, my heart never hurts me,
Yeah. You don't get any chest pain ever when you're having a heart attack?
No, I never have chest pain.
Yeah. Some people don't,
It's subtle.
Yeah. You haven't had very many heart attacks though, have you?
11.
Have they all been officially heart attacks, or have they been just, rhythm issues or lung issues and all that?
Official heart attacks where it shows up in the blood that your heart's dying. Officially 11.
Oh, officially 11. Okay. There's unofficial and then there's official, you know what I mean? So, but
I don't know how many unofficial ones I've had.
yeah. Well, so you can feel it when it's coming on, though, is what I'm saying.
Yeah, usually. The right coronary, it's real subtle. In the left coronary, your body's shutting down.
Really?
Well, in my left coronary, when I had a heart attack in my left coronary, I was shutting down. My heartbeat was 38. They had to jump start me 5 times. Jump started me 5 times, and I felt the 5th one.
Oh, I remember you talking to me on the phone when you were having that. Oh my God.
The 5th one I felt, I go, fuck, that hurts.
Yeah.
It really hurts.
Yeah, well, imagine that going on with a defibrillator inside of you.
Well, that's a lot lighter defibrillator inside of you.
Well, and yeah, but my grandfather told me it would hurt when it did that.
Yeah.
What
kind of wake you up?
I don't want to give you any illusions.
It's a short-term pain, though, so it goes away right away.
Yeah.
It's just like getting jabbed with a big needle.
I suppose it's probably those fence posts that have the electric
fence,
you touch them. I suppose it's probably like that.
Yep. It hurts, but it goes away right away.
Yeah.
But that defibrillator, man, that fucker really hurt. They jump you off. Your body jumps off the table,
Yeah. Yeah. They jump-started you 5 times, huh?
Yep. They didn't think I was going to make it. It took, what should have took half hour, 3/4 an hour, took 5.5 hours to put the stent in.
They were working on trying to jumpstart you for 5.5 hours?
Yep.
That's an awful long time to not give up.
Yeah. Yeah, they were right on top of it. It was Abbott Northwestern.
Yeah.
Marcia called the ambulance, and the ambulance, they were already giving me drugs because I knew it was the left coronary. And I got into the hospital. No sooner did I get in, they immediately took me into an angiogram room to do an angiogram. And then it went from there. They had problems. They couldn't get the stent in the left coronary. They finally did, though. It kept clogging. My heart would keep stopping each time they tried to go down in there with the stent.
Yeah.
My heart would stop. They'd have to pull it out and then jumpstart me. And then they stabilize you, and then they try to do it again and again and again and again and again.
Wow. That must have been something.
But I don't feel nothing. I'm under anesthesia, you know?
Yeah.
But even under anesthesia, I felt that fucking jump start.
Yeah, I can imagine. That'd been horrible.
Yo, fuck, that hurts.
Did you say that? Like out loud?
I screamed it. I screamed, fuck, that hurts.
Yeah.
What are you doing? Stop.
And they were like, he's alive.
He's beaten. Don't do it again.
I'm living. Stop doing it.
I never saw the light, though.
No.
I saw my life would flash in front of me real fast.
Did you?
Yeah.
Like, what was it like? Like a real...
Like a movie,
imagery,
fast movie of your life.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just weird dreams really fast.
Yeah. Yeah. Interesting. That is interesting. Yeah, I've heard some really interesting stories about near-death experiences where, you know, a person has died and, you know, different experiences they've had.
Next to the stent in my left coronary, my right coronary, 100% blocked up at the front, where they had 3 stents in a row. It totally 100% blocked at the start of my right coronary. But my left coronary shot a lateral vein over to the lower fingers of my right coronary. So all the blood flows through only my left coronary. So next heart attack, I'm dead. You know?
Yeah.
Ain't no coming back. So I don't want a heart attack.
No, but you know, the smoking, you know, increases your chances of that too, though.
Does it?
Yeah,
Shit,
yeah, it does. I was reading about how smoke affects the heart and all of the workings of the heart, and even things like for me, I don't smoke, but I probably could never smoke even if I wanted to, because my heart starts reacting to it like immediately, you know. And I don't smoke, but I've like been around people who smoke. But I gotta be careful being around my friends when they're smoking, because sometimes it's too much for my heart, and I just start having like heart flippity floppy, and it gets very, very erratic. You know, my heart rate does when I'm just around smoke. You know, I'm not even smoking myself, but I don't really smoke, and I'm like afraid to. You know, I'm just afraid to, because I'm so sensitive to so many things. You know, I mean, I have like, I've talked to my husband and my daughter, like if ever I need any kind of medicine, I don't want the full dose. Whatever you're going to prescribe for somebody of my weight and height and all that, fine, but I want half of that.
I always want a double dose.
Yeah, I know. You're the exact opposite. It's like, you know, for me, I metabolize everything so very fast that it really affects me. Like, you know, I had morphine once for a migraine because I was throwing up. And my heart rate went to like 30 beats a minute, no time flat. And they had to put me on oxygen, and they're trying to get my heart rate up. My blood pressure was tanking, my heart rate was tanking, all because of stinking morphine. And I physically felt better, but I literally had to kind of, when they were telling me my heart rate was too low, my blood pressure was too low, I was trying to get excitable. Boost it up, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so, like, every time they even mention morphine, and I was Hawaii at one time, and I had that urinary tract infection that turned into a really bad kidney infection. They wanted to give me morphine, and I told them no. Well, then this person came in and gave me, something, and I didn't know what it was that they gave me. And I asked them, what did you give me? And she's like, and the guy, I think it was a guy, he's like, well, we gave you morphine. I said, no. I said, you can't even take it back now. I'm going to have these effects of it. You better make sure you got oxygen on standby. Now I'm going to try to get all hyper right now because, my heart rate's going to drop. I can't have morphine.
I love morphine.
Yeah, I can't do it.
I go to the hospital just to try to get it.
It feels like, honestly, it feels like my heart's going to stop. That's how it feels to me. It's like my heart rate goes so slow, and it's like everything goes, ooh. That's how I feel. And it's like, oh my God, is this even going to keep going? And I get like flutters once in a while in my lower ventricles, which every time, like, my relatives have the rhythm problems. But if it goes into a good rhythm, which is atrial fib, you can live a long time like that. But if it goes into a bad rhythm, like ventricle tachycardia or something, you can only live 4 minutes on that. Yeah. And you're a goner, So, and whenever I have these rhythm problems, I've never converted to AFib, but I always feel everything start to flutter or whatever in the lower part of my heart, like in the lower, it feels like it's low. And that just concerns me, because if I ended up in a type of rhythm problem, it would not be the good one. Every once in a while I get this jiggle heart sensation at night, and I get I can feel my heartbeat all the way down my leg. I'm talking like from my belly button all the way down my leg. I can feel my heartbeat in it. And It's the weirdest thing ever. And I was like, I had it happen a few times and a few nights, and I didn't think nothing of it. And I was like, well, gee, my legs hurts. And I thought, well, man, I could have a blood clot in my leg. Maybe I should go in. And I was like, no, Julia, you've had that checked out before. This is the kind of what I roll with myself over. You've had that checked out before. You're fine. This is what I always say to myself. Well, then I was having that leg thing happen again. I could feel my heartbeat in my leg, quite a few times. Well, then I was like dead asleep. And all of a sudden I get this jiggle heart sensation. Like it woke me up, Yeah. And I started coughing, and it was like a weird, like somebody was just shaking my heart. And I'm like, I don't know if I like this. This is really concerning me. But it only happened like a couple times for like a few seconds, and I was fine. I didn't really have any chest pain or anything like that. Well, I thought, okay, you're fine. Don't worry about it. Go back to sleep. I went back to sleep. But then it's not easy to go back to sleep when your adrenaline's up from all this, Yeah. So anyways, so I thought, okay, if it happens again, I'm going to think about going in when it's happening, because maybe they can figure it out, but the chances of it happening in the damn ER room is very slim. Because by the time I get over there and get all hooked up, well, things have gone back to normal, you know?
Yeah.
And so they hooked me up. So I went not too long ago, actually. Started having the leg pain and started feeling my heartbeat all the way down from my belly button all the way into my foot. And then, you know, and I told the doctor about the jiggle heart, and I said, I'm sure it's probably nothing. But, you know, I'm hoping it'll do the jiggle heart thing. Not that I want you to have a bad experience with me. I just want to know if it's something that's a big issue that needs to be dealt with. And anyways, it never did it the entire time I was in the emergency room. And, you know, they didn't think you know, they weren't quite sure. But I had actually had chest pain with that one. I had chest pain while I was laying on the couch. And then I went upstairs and I'm getting this heartbeat down my leg. And then I went to sleep and I woke up by the jiggle heart thing. And I'm like, okay, I've had chest pain. I can feel my heartbeat in my leg. And I got jiggle heart. I'm going in.
Yeah.
But there was nothing that they could tell. But I mean, I'm really good from a vein standpoint. Like my veins are.
Have you had an angiogram?
What?
Have you had an angiogram?
Yeah, I got like supermodel veins.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hey, I gotta call you back. I got somebody calling. Okay.
Okay. Bye-bye. That's it. Peace. Hang loose.